Hi everyone. Hello. How are you? I hope you're staying healthy. NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. Thanks for being here. This is not a terribly long letter, so I think we'll finish this in one take. The sun's pure storehouse and pure eye is an old story. This letter, not a whole lot is known about its recipients. Although it's obvious from the letter that these are people that Nichiren was acquainted with. Whether the letter was written directly to the person it was intended to, or whether it was handed off from one person and meant for another, there's debate. There's even a reference to the first story here where there's little known about the origin of the story, but we're dealing with expedient means, as is usually the case. And we're dealing with something that we deal with in Buddhist teachings quite a lot, and that is the nature of obstacles. Right? And that gets misinterpreted in a lot of ways about karma, retribution, which is not really a good word in Buddhist thinking. Retribution has the sound of a punishment to it. And that's, a lot of religions use that, but Buddhism isn't about that. Because in Buddhism, we are in complete command of our lives. And our lives are karmically driven, energy driven, right? They're kinetic. And if there's negative energy in it, then that's not a punishment. That's just a fact that is our operating set of circumstance, our tendencies and conditions. And if you don't like those tendencies and conditions, then we're the only ones with the power to change them. So Buddhism is very singular, if you will, in its responsibility for things. If you don't like what you're experiencing, look to your past, look to your past mental conditions, and you can probably find the seeds of what it is that is flowering today as a negative thing. Sometimes it's hard to see that stuff. When we reach obstacles, that's why all these expedient mean discussions talk about these obstacles in a personage form. The Dairakuten no Mao, Sanchoshima, the devil of the sixth heaven, Mara, all these obstacles and demons and devils and life conditions. That's because they're all encapsulated forms of something that every sentient being life experiences in one way or another from different things we're attached to. We're all unique in how we achieve these different life conditions. I see something on the lens here, apologize. Sorry. Anyway, so we all experience these different things, and we share our experiences of feeling stupid, foolish, taken advantage of, when we've taken advantage of others, whether we were more or less conscious that we were taking advantage, or deliberately misguiding somebody else, or taking advantage. All these, or pain, just pain, unhappiness from something, all precipitated from attachments. Obviously, that's our human condition, samsara, right? Life equals sufferings of every sort, physical, mental, emotional, blah, blah, blah. So if you could write stories that would exemplify certain types of mental conditions, you could assign, because they're so generic, these different types of feelings and their subtle differences through storytelling. And you could make those influences that are negative personages. You can make them people. You could make them dragons. You could make them deities, right? All sorts of things. That's what expedient means are. So Nichiren is going to use a couple of them here. to explain to the recipient of this letter that even though negative forces can be rather overwhelming at times, right? Who hasn't experienced suffering to a level that just knocked you down, that there's no way around this. Oh my God, I'm going through all this stuff, right? Insurmountable. How can I ever recover from this? The power of NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, the power of your ability to enliven, to awaken, to rise above whatever you're going through. And believe me, I know, maybe you got into a horrible accident and you had to have a leg amputated, or go as far as you want. You still, because of your human mind, can ignite your Buddha mind, which is unencumbered by any of that. That is the most powerful tool, the most powerful agency that a human being can have. And you can only have it as a human being. There's simply no mechanism to recognize it, use it, experience it in any other way than in this samsaric form. That's why this life is so important. No matter what kind of crap there is in it, you can always broom it away with Buddha. That is Buddhism. Buddhism is about living this life to its highest potential. Right? So, this is a letter of encouragement, is what it comes down to. But let's see where it takes us, because Nichiren, like Shakyamuni, always finds ways, like Tendai, like Nagarjuna, like Vasubandhu, like every great teacher before him. Nichiren finds ways to cleverly awaken the minds of different, unique human experiences, using devices, using his own explanations. So let's see what we learn in this one. He begins this letter. I have received 1 sack of unpolished rice, 1 basket of melons, some taros, and various other gifts. So, first and foremost, thank you, right? Once there was a person, he dives right into it, who exerted himself in the service of a wealthy man named Pleasure Virtue. Right away, Pleasure Virtue. I mean, a lot of these names they're either adjectives or verbs, or it's obvious these aren't actual people, right? But take, for instance, this man who obviously Pleasure Virtue kind of already makes you think of what kind of mental state that this wealthy man had as he... Once there was a person who exerted himself in service of a wealthy man named Pleasure Virtue. Day and night he and his wife, their children, were treated harshly and driven hard. So that's interesting. So the wealthy man, who's named Pleasure Virtue, is a bit of a sadist. He treats the people who work for him with less than respect. Unable to bear the excessive ill treatment, he hid himself and fled to another country. Supposedly he took his wife and children with him. After serving for a time in the court of a great king in that country, he became an influential retainer and eventually the chief minister to the king. So he worked his way up a ladder, got away from this abusive guy, right? Later, employing the might of this country, he defeated the country where his former master resided. It's kind of revenge-like, right? At that time, seeing his chief minister, the former master, was greatly frightened and regretted his ill treatment. Oh, I'm so sorry I treated you like crap now that my life is in danger, right? Placing himself in the service of the chief minister, he brought him various treasures, And with no thought for the defeat he had experienced, he now strove only to ensure that his life would be spared. Oh, suddenly he learned to be gracious now that he'd been defeated. Interesting. Okay. Little is known about the origin of this story, but Nichiren is setting up a point, I think. The case of the Lotus Sutra is the same. Ooh, lost me there. The Lotus Sutra is the master of Medicine Master Buddha in the East, as well as the master of all Buddhas in the South, West, and North. Okay. And the worlds above and below. Shakyamuni Buddha and the other Buddhas revere the characters of the Lotus Sutra, the NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, in the same way that people fear their sovereign and the stars venerate the moon. Okay, I don't know if fear is the right translation there. I suspect what he meant was that they feel the word, I was going to say awe, but awe almost, think of awe in the respect to something that is so grand and unimaginable that it just kind of freezes you. Not awe in a way that you might feel joy, but awe in a way of deep, deep, profound respect and admiration, right? So I don't know that fear is the right thing there, but let's go on. They fear their sovereign and the stars venerate the moon. So, yeah, do you see that big picture? That's what he's trying to encapsulate, right? We ordinary people, however, we're not Shakyamuni Buddha, although Buddhism is about doing exactly what Shakyamuni Buddha did. So, yes, we are, but let's just take the story as given. We are ordinary people, certainly. However, have long been under the reign of the devil king of the sixth heaven, right? Darakutenamal, Mara, whatever you call it, our earthly samsaric existence could be said to be under, our life condition could be under the control of that condition. Certainly, samsara. Sorry, really dry today. We have been forced into confinement in the realms of hell, hungry spirits, and animals, right? The 10 worlds, the lower worlds. And without a moment of relief, day and night, we are tortured by the wardens of hell. Sufferings. Even so, if we could somehow place ourselves under the protection of the Lotus Sutra, then Shakyamuni Buddha and the Buddhas of the 10 directions would treat us as their children. And thus even the heavenly kings Brahma and Chakra would refrain from approaching us out of fear, deep abiding respect. How much more then would the devil king of the sixth heaven fear us? Such is the life condition of NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. The regular onslaught of sufferings of samsara recoil in the presence of NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. That's what this is saying. Even though the devil king had formerly been our master, living regular human lives in suffering from the rolling ball of karma that we don't understand how to approach or even look at. We're not even cognizant of it. We're just responding to one obstacle after another, really. He would now stand in reverential awe of us. There's the word, awe. So this is the way to look at our earthly struggles. That in light of our ability to chant NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, especially using Nichiren's mandala of focus on our Gohonzon, our ability to instantiate our Buddha-ness, all that other simply bows down to the life condition we manifest when we chant NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. And terribly fearful that should he cause trouble for us, his situation would worsen when he presented himself to the Lotus Sutra and the Buddhas of the 10 directions, he would make us offerings. So what was previously an obstacle in our lives would somehow manifest a benefit, a reward, simply through our practice. For this reason, he spares no effort whatsoever to prevent all the living beings in the 6 paths from accepting the Lotus Sutra. The 6 lower paths, right? Hell, hunger, animality, anger, nin, or tranquility, or humanity, and which one did I leave out? Ashuras Anger, I got that. I'm not thinking right now. I'm missing one. If you know it, put it in the comments. Okay, therefore, how could this be? You have taken pity on Nichiren, compassion, who is hated by all people, sending various articles all the way to him, to Nichiren, in these mountains on more than just 1 or 2 occasions. This is no ordinary matter. Indeed, Shakyamuni Buddha himself may have taken possession of your body. In other words, this must speak to your enlightenment. Or perhaps your deceased son has become a Buddha, and in order to guide his father and mother, has taken possession of your hearts. There's that filial connection again, right? They've lost a son. How many cliches have we heard? And I don't mean to discount them, but they're heard so often. No parent wants to perish after their children. Their children should outlive them, right? That is just the order of things in our samsaric reality. The loss of a child is always profound, no matter what age, right? So Nichiren is encouraging the recipients of this letter so that although you've lost your son, because of the wonderful things you're doing to provide sustenance to the votary of the Lotus Sutra, and therefore making offerings from your own lives to NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, whether you understand that fully or not, it's entirely possible that your son reached Buddhahood. And if he did so, I'm going to go back to the way I've talked to you about this in the past. When we lose a relative, they don't go anywhere so we can communicate with them. They exist in our lives. Karmically, we have intertwined energy because we're related, physically intertwined, right? This son came from the mother's womb, who provided a hospice for an egg and a sperm, 2 karmic entities, to foster a 3rd karmic entity. So they're intertwined. So for the father and the mother, now that the son has passed away, it has led them to concern themselves deeply with the nature and value of their lives. So their son's Buddhahood, in Nichiren's description here, is a component of their lives, not their sons. You follow? So by enlightening the father and mother, they have taken to pay homage to Nichiren's mission of propagation of the Lotus Sutra. Do you see how this works? The king, wonderful adornment, now this is a known story, was an evil king. However, because his 2 sons, Pure Storehouse and Pure Eye, guided him to the way, He and his wife were both able to place their trust in the Lotus Sutra and become Buddhas. Mysteriously enough, your own circumstances are much the same. So he just described exactly what I was describing to you, except that these sons in this story actively, while alive, convinced their father to practice NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. The situation is the same, except that the mother and father who are the recipient of this letter were guided to NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo after the death of their son, but nonetheless were guided toward NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. That's interesting, right? Kaiko said, quote, he, the deceased son, was above the ordinary in both features and form. In addition, he was honest at heart and rich in wisdom. I felt it a terrible pity that someone such as he, outstanding in every respect, should die so young. Reconsidering the matter, however, I realized that it was because of this boy's death that his mother became a seeker of the way, and his father began to practice, meditating for his repose. He's describing the very mechanism I was just talking about. This is how the son, who died at a young age, inspired both of his parents to move toward NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. His death was actually a bodhisattva act to his parents. How marvelous, I thought. Moreover, the fact that they have put their trust in the Lotus Sutra, which all people detest, must mean that their deceased son has been at their side and encouraged them to do so. I also believe this to be the case. So where Nichiren says at their side, I'll be a little bit more visceral and say of their side to make the point, right? That this isn't some ghostly figure, that it is an inculcated portion of who they are, the father and mother. Their sonness led them to NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. Before I had thought that your sincerity was just an ordinary matter, but now, for the first time, I have sensed the depth of your resolute mind and conviction. If anything should happen to you, just as the moon emerges to shine in the dark night, so the 5 characters of NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo will appear as a moon for you. Be convinced that Shakyamuni Buddha, the Buddhas of the 10 directions, and the Son who preceded you in death, will appear in this moon. I will explain in greater detail on another occasion with my deep respect, Nichiren. So in his own poetic way, Nichiren is saying, your son has guided the way. Through his death, he has guided you to your enlightenment. So whenever you feel this onslaught of sufferings and difficulties in life, remember, through your son, you too fuse with Buddha. This brings you all together in enlightenment, right? Not too mystical here, but a really visceral understanding of awakening. This is an amazing letter. The next letter, the doctrine of attaining Buddhahood in one's present form, that's going to be doctrinal. And as I can see, I knew it would be. It's not hugely long, but it starts off with questions and answers. So this is the Nichiren form of an actual, what should we call it? Not a symposium, a lecture, if you will, a doctrinal lecture by Nichiren. That's what's coming up. For now, understand that all your obstacles are a source of great enlightenment. NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your support. My patrons, you guys are amazing. Just got another reward from John and Jewel, and I can't remember everyone. You guys, you keep this channel going. Sometimes it's not easy for me, but you guys inspire me, so I can always overcome my obstacles because we're working together. So, man, I appreciate you guys so much. Take care of your health, please, and be kind. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Hey, thank you for being here. Did you know there's a third way you can help support this channel? And it won't cost you a cent. Yep, if you are not able to be a patron on Patreon or use the PayPal me at .com at Sifu Sylvain, because you don't have the financial fortune to help support this channel right now. You, as I say, always support this channel by watching, but you can also help us grow so that maybe one day we can get over 10,000 subscribers and YouTube will grace us with monetization. It's not a lot, but if you can make sure you're subscribed and share a video, like a simple one, just go into the search criteria and type monk, and you'll have a video that'll come up that's been up for years about what is a monk. You know, it's called monk, who, how, where, something like that. That might be a great introduction to somebody who doesn't understand what a monk is to begin with. It's a tool. Use this channel as a tool to help you with your bodhisattva practice, and share a video to somebody who you think, oh, I know somebody who'll benefit from watching this. And in that way, you can help us grow. And that's a really good way to help your practice along as well. So just wanted to drop that in on you in case that's something that you might find useful. Take care of yourself again, and I'll see you soon. Bye.